Hey friends, welcome to How to Launch and Build a Franchise Consulting Business here in 2026. Our goal today really is to make sure that dynamic and ambitious business leaders like yourselves are aware of a very lucrative and rewarding business opportunity. This opportunity is really it's in a pretty niche industry called franchise consulting, and I'm sure you're probably aware of that. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be here. But this opportunity today, we're going to unpack we're going to share a lot of insights that you're going to gain from people like myself. My name is Jared Nassif. I'm the director of business development here at BAI. But you're also going to learn from our VP of operations, Mr. John Jones, and our CEO, Mr. Brandon Clifford, as well. Both come with decades of experience, both in business ownership and the franchising industry as a whole. So as a team, we're excited really to kind of introduce all of you to this unique industry. We're gonna talk about our amazing network, and we're gonna talk about this opportunity that's at hand for those of you who are ready to go into business for yourself, but not by yourself. And now you're just ready to learn how. How do I do this? What are the first steps I need to take, and how do I build upon it? So many of you are here today. Thanks for being here. You're coming from different backgrounds. You're exploring this, coming from different kind of situations. Maybe for you, you're looking to kind of transform from or transition from like corporate America and finally have the freedom over your own schedule and to be your own boss. Or maybe perhaps for you, you are a previous business owner. You're a current business owner. You've learned what it takes then to succeed as an entrepreneur, and you are passionate about making a difference. You want to help other people do the same thing that you've done. Or maybe for you, you are currently a professional consultant and you're just looking for ways to kind of, leverage your existing network and kind of supplement your income. I get all of that. Or maybe for you, you're just an individual. None of that relates, but you have helped many people and you're good at giving advice, and now you kind of like to get paid for it. So wouldn't that be great? Now, there's many reasons people like yourselves become franchise consultants and really step into this business. There's really no one size fits all necessarily. However, there is a strong common denominator among all of us who are franchise consultants. Regardless of background, regardless of experience, there's one common denominator that we all share, and it's this. We deeply want to impact other people's lives in a meaningful way, and we want to make great money while doing it. So today, if that relates well with you, then we're going to explain how to do that, how to launch and how to build a franchise consulting business, how to build it successfully, and why really this year is the year to do that. Okay. And so today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that very thing, how to launch, how to build a successful franchise consulting business. Okay. I want you to know this up front as well. This entire kind of webinar is brought to you by Business Alliance Incorporated, BAI for short. We are the longest standing franchise brokerage network in this space. We have a great long-standing reputation. If you do any bit of due diligence, any bit of research on your own, that will not take you long to find. We hold that near and dear to our heart, and that is not built overnight. It is very intentional. And so we are the premier resource partner for consultants, as well as franchisors and preferred suppliers and vendors. Okay. Now, I also want to be clear too. I'm going to show you this whole slide deck today. I'm going to send this entire thing to you, as well as the videos that you're going to see today. I'm going to send the entire media kit your way. Okay. Just for registering and just for being here. You're also going to get some extra stuff that we're not going to look at today. So inside the slide deck, there's going to be a number of things that's going to be added value to you that I'm going to send you that we're not actually going to discuss today. But really before we dive in much further, before we go any further, I want to introduce to you our guests as well. I want to introduce you some of our team and franchise industry experts with us today. We have our CEO, Mr. Brandon Clifford, and our Vice President of Operations, John Jones. Fellas, thank you for being here today. You both looking great, looking sharp. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Jared, thanks for having us. Good to see you, John. Welcome,
Yeah,
everybody.
can you guys start with just introducing yourselves a little bit? Tell us a little bit about yourselves. John, if you want to go first, maybe share a little bit about yourself and really kind of as it relates to franchising. And then Brandon, you do the
Yeah,
same.
we'll go age first versus beauty. Right?
I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada, by the way, entertainment capital of the world. I came out here to play some college football, and I never left. But I got into corporate sales right after graduation and had some success there. And then I took a bold move, and I pursued this dream of being a national speaker, trainer, and coach. And this was in the seminar industry before the internet was really dynamic yet. So I was traveling around the country with these amazing mentors and speakers and experts, people like Tony Robbins and Zig Ziglar and Dr. Dennis Waitley and Brian Tracy, et cetera. And it was an awesome experience as a young man. And then from there, it kind of evolved in all kinds of opportunities. And I started to find a niche with coaching and training independent consultants, right? And independent agents, people in the real estate industry and financial planning industry and insurance industry and those types of things, and business coach consulting and so forth. And then my travels found myself with Action Coach, a global business coaching franchise, and I headed up the franchise development program there. And that's where I really fell in love with franchising, you guys, and loved it. I thought it was just a great environment for me. And it was from there, one of my roles, responsibilities was to build relationships with the broker franchise consultant community. And so that's where I connected with BAI. I was super impressed with BAI even back then. It's talking 16 some years ago or something like that. And it just really struck a chord with me as the organization that was really doing things the right way and making a difference, and just made a big impression on me. Anyways, fast forward more to recent, I got involved in a chiropractic franchising, working with a franchisee. We developed 50 locations, and we had a very successful selling event, a liquidity event. And so I found myself in a transitional stage, and I thought to myself, what do I want to do? And supporting BAI was something that came to my mind. So I reached out to Brandon and his partner, Gina, and the timing just kind of worked out. So they were able to bring me on board this summer in this capacity as VP of operations. But I head up the coaching and the training support services here at BAI. I work directly with our brokers and consultants. It's an honor and a privilege to assist people in achieving their dreams and goals here at BAI.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Brandon, how about yourself? Tell us a little bit about your story.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for that, John. And, obviously my role here at BAI is to empower and grow the team, and working alongside people with a background as John just make me really excited and proud of what I do every single day. And yeah, I live in New Hampshire, southern New Hampshire. It's beautiful here. I like to get outside, go hiking, and enjoy the great outdoors. But my work life, I've been in franchising now for about 20 years. Been an entrepreneur way past that. I actually opened my first restaurant at the age of 25, grew it to a multi-unit owner, was newly married with no kids when I opened my first restaurant. 12 years later, I had 3 restaurants and 4 kids, right? And so sometimes I get backwards because kids and restaurants are very, very similar. Once you have one, you want more. And then once you have more, you want none, right? No, I'm just kidding. It was just time for a change, and it's kind of a microcosm of what we do at BAI, that when it's the right fit, a business owner thrives. Absolutely. And when I first started out as a entrepreneur, as a business owner, a restaurateur, I was 24, like I said, 25 years old with no children. It was a great fit for me, and I loved it, and I thrived. But then later on, things needed to change, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I divested out of the restaurant space, and I stumbled upon franchise brokerage. Believe it or not. I was looking to buy a franchise. I was working with a franchise broker during the process. I was like, wait a minute, I kind of want to do what you do. This seems really interesting and really cool. And he was like, you know what, Brandon, I've actually thought that all along, you'd be a great fit. Let me connect you with the organization I'm a part of, BAI. And so I spoke with the former CEO of this company. Her name's Natalie Barnes. Pretty quickly, we hit it off right away. I actually met Gina Johnson, you've heard John mention. We hit it off as well, and just seemed like a good fit for me at that time. I was in a transition period. I was going from one career to the next. What was my next step going to be? It seemed like a good, I guess, kind of bridge to, in my mind, I thought to myself, I'll do this for a little while, make a few placements, earn some money back, and then I'll just buy a franchise. That was my mindset back in, I guess, 2012 or so now. And here I am now, some you know, I don't know, what's it, 11, 15, whatever, however many years later it's been, as the CEO of the whole network. You know, some twists and turns in the middle there. I was a broker for the first 7 years. Then went on to the franchisor side and worked as an executive with a senior care brand for 4 years and helped them go through a phase of growth. And then when Natalie, that woman who I mentioned before, was seeking retirement, she reached out to me and she said she was looking to wind down and wanted to transition the company to someone who she trusted, who could, take BAI from where she had built it into the future. And she's like, it's got to be you. And so we worked out a situation where I came back here as the COO to start 2023 and then transition to the CEO role and majority owner of the company in 2024. So.
Yeah. Well, thanks for both of you gentlemen for joining us today. I'm excited to dive into this. I'm going to save my story. For all of you watching right now, I'm going to save mine because my story is if I get to meet with you one-on-one, hopefully that is the case. I'll share it then. But my story is pretty radical as it relates to how I got into franchising. And I'll say this, I don't come from business. I don't come from franchising. I'm a walking testimony of the support and training that you can find at BAI that can lead to franchise consulting success. That's all I'm going to say for today, right? Hopefully I'll get to share that with many of you later on. But let's dive in. And really what we're going to do is I want to start by explaining what we are going to be covering today real quickly. And we'll just kind of fly through this. Here's who this is. Here's what we're going to cover. We're going to discuss, number one, who this entire thing is for and who this is not for. I want to be very clear with all of you right now, kind of individuals that thrive in this and those that do not. Second thing we're going to discuss is the demand for franchise consulting. Why is there even a need for this very niche industry, this niche space, this service? Third thing we're going to discuss is then how do you do that? How do you launch and build your own franchise consultancy? And then last, how do you get started? If you understand, hey, this is the year that I'm going to make 2026 my year. I'm ready to recapture my time and build my own business, be my own boss. How do you do that today? What are some very practical steps you can take to at least begin the conversation? That's really what we're going to be doing today. So let's dive in. Number one, listen closely because we're going to pack a lot of information for you all today in a very short amount of time. So listen closely, lean in. Let's start here. Who this is for. Here's the kind of individuals franchise consulting with BAI is for. Number one, those with strong business acumen, passion for entrepreneurship, and a passion for financial success. And three, experienced and self-confident. Okay. One of our kind of primary or our fundamental business strategies is really to partner with people of strong business acumen, preferably previous business ownership. Okay. And if you have franchise and ownership, just the cherry on top. Okay. Some other things we're looking for. People who are persistent in their follow-up. All right. Those that are willing to do the diligent work of following up with their candidates. Okay. This is high customer service kind of things. Number 5, people who are empathetic servant leaders. You're going to hear this probably a couple times today, but empathy is a big deal to us because let me say it this way. We can't teach you to care about people. And those are the kind of individuals you really want to work with, those who care about other people. Number 6, those who are curious and coachable. Doesn't matter if you have 30 plus years of franchise experience. And if you're someone who comes in and goes, I get it all, I understand it all, this probably isn't going to be the right partnership or relationship for you. So then on the flip side of that, then here's who this is not for. If you're looking for a passive income investment, that's not this. If you're looking to sit on a beach, sip Mai Tais, and expect money to just come rolling in, I'm sorry, this is not the right spot for you here. Okay. Second thing is this, someone who needs external motivation and supervision. We're not going to call you in the morning to get yourself up out of bed. We're not going to check in with you all the time to see, hey, did you do the work? Did you follow up? Did you send those emails? Did you try these different marketing strategies we discussed? We're not going to do that. You are the boss. This is your business. Okay. Number 3, someone who requires company provided leads. And especially if you're expecting free leads, I'm telling you, you're probably not the boss if someone's just handing you free leads. And if you're expecting that to come from us, that is not the case with this relationship. Number 4, someone who has less than 30,000 in liquid capital. This is probably not the right fit. We have seen other people do it, but it's really hard. It's really struggle. You'll struggle. And the last thing you want is to be stressed about cash flow. Because in this business, if you exhale commission breath, man, you're gonna struggle. So I want to make sure you're well capitalized for this. Number 5, those that prefer task-oriented work. If you're expecting a to-do list every week of the things you need to do from us, that's not how this is going to go either. Number 6, kind of already mentioned this, those that already know it all. If you're kind of going, hey, I just want to look at your brands. I don't need any of your training, any of your coaching, any of your relationship, any of your collaboration. I just want to look at the brands that are in portfolio. This is not the right relationship for you. You can use Google for that. Gentlemen, is there anything you would add or take away from this list? Any color you want to provide here?
No, I mean, I think like you hit the nail on the head, Jared, there about empathy. You know, this is at the end of the day, the common denominator between successful brokers is they actually value and care about people, you know, and so like this is a people person first business where you're talking to a lot of people. So you have to like talking to people, and there's nothing wrong with sipping Mai Tais on the beach in this business, though.
Right.
You just have to have a laptop or a phone with you while you're doing it, right? Actually, we actually encourage sometimes our brokers to go on more vacations because that's when the deals closes, when you're on vacation, right? You know?
I mean, we call this, John, I've heard you say this many times. This is a lifestyle business.
Yes.
You craft this business around your lifestyle. You can build it from wherever you want. But day one, if you're sitting on a beach, sipping Mai Tais, expecting money to show up in your bank account,
you better have your cell phone with you. Yeah.
You gotta be working, right? No, that's just the case. Now, before we get into some important details about the business of franchise consulting, I think it might be helpful really to kind of talk briefly about franchising in general. Many with us today and might be completely new to franchising. So real quick, we won't spend a ton of time on this. Brandon, can you explain the role franchising plays in our world today?
Sure. Yeah, no, franchising is huge. It's one of the things that actually opened my eyes to this industry when I first looked at it was, you know, everyone coming from an outsider's perspective thinks Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell, Kentucky Fried Chicken, but, you know, franchising exists in over, I think it's 84 different industries, different verticals. I mean, it's grown exponentially over the last 10, 15 years as well, too, to where I believe if you drive down the road right now, and don't quote me on this, but I think the stat is 1 in every 7 Main Street businesses are actually a franchise. Right. And I don't know if that's every single town, but I know even here, and I love it, especially because obviously we have a little bit of an insider knowledge. But when I see like a lesser known Cool View truck drive by right here in a small town, New Hampshire, I'm like, oh, wow, that's one of my brands. You know? So even the mobile businesses, it takes it to the next level. But yeah, I mean, franchising grows year over year. There's over 850,000 franchise establishments. And just the economic output in the, you know, the opportunity that it creates to create wealth for generations. You know, I mean, you hear stories all the time of, you know, coming to mind, for instance, like immigrants coming to this country, barely even speaking the language, but by plugging into a franchise system, you know, they own a convenience store or laundromat or whatever business it might be, cleaning, so, you know, and then it scales to multiple territories, and their children come into the business, and maybe more family members are able to immigrate to the U.S. or whatever it might be. There's stories upon stories about that, and that ability to create the generational wealth is something that gets overlooked in franchising. That it's really hard to comprehend until you get into it.
Yeah, right. And just the like you mentioned, the impact that it provides somewhere around almost 9 million jobs. Here just in North America. And so what it's doing here in this country and really worldwide, because we work with some brands that are internationally expanding. And so it's pretty.
Yeah. And what it really does, it opens the door, you know, of opportunity to people who would never get into business on their own. Right. And so it allows everyone to have this entrepreneurial experience. That's like the American dream, you know, to be your own boss and like do your own thing. But everyone's like, but how do I do that? How do I, you know, leave corporate America?
Well, that's the thing is, John, can you kind of give us kind of the difference from your point of view, from your perspective between franchising and independent startups? Kind of talk through the difference there, maybe pros and cons, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, first of all, as you guys mentioned, just bottom line, a franchise owner is more likely to succeed than the independent startup. There's all kinds of amazing statistics on that. I think it's like, after 5 years, the typical independent startup, this very low percentage is still in business, 30% or something like that, where with a good franchise, we're talking about 90% still, you know, doing business after 5 years. So it's pretty drastic. And it's all the reasons you might expect, right? You got established brand. You've got a proven business model. You've got systems that are already in place, already been tweaked, already been improved upon, right? Already mastered in many cases. You got technology platforms that have been customized for the business. And we all know how important that is these days, right? And then, of course, the training, the ongoing support. So all these things are just huge, right? And it just makes a huge difference. And then for the royalty of 8%, you're going to acquire these costs and more anyway. So I think it's just a win-win there. But here's what struck me probably recently, the last several years, is that in a franchise, you get to step into a situation where you don't have to create a business. You get to step in and execute a business. And over my years in coaching business owners, that's where they really struggle, is when you're trying to create something from scratch. You're trying to create a website, create a brand, create a team. Oh my gosh, you're not making money when you're creating things, right? You're making money when you're executing. And franchise is just a great fast track to get people in that direction. A lot of people get into franchising where they're very successful people, but you know what? They're not able to retire the way they want to quite yet, and they got it's like fourth quarter, of their career, and they want to finish strong. And, they feel like they're behind a touchdown. Right. Yeah. And so putting money in your typical retirement fund is probably not going to catch up, right, the way you want to. So a franchise is going to allow you to replace an income, and some of these brands can help you do this very quickly, build profits, and then, of course, build an asset at the same time and do it with some speed and a lot of support. So it's really incredible. So it's a great opportunity there. But, of course, there's like 4,000 some, opportunities out there. It's like, which one do you do, right? And so that's where we get to step in.
Yeah, right. That's where franchise consulting really comes into play. It's about trying to help someone find the right fit. That's what we really believe is the best determinator of future success, is trying to help someone find the right franchise brand, right franchise fit, more important than the franchise brand name. Right. And so here's what I want to do is kind of then explain kind of the demand for this, is understanding that the franchise consulting and really what the need is for it. Franchise establishments in the United States, that they're going to increase by over 30,000 units this year, according to Fran data. So in other words, another way to say this is that approximately every 8 minutes, right, every single business day, a new franchise establishment is going to open. I think we've maybe mentioned this before, maybe not, but we believe there's somewhere around 4,000 plus franchise opportunities, franchise systems out there, right? The vast majority of them are utilizing the services of franchise consultants. And because of kind of the decades of proven success, that number is only projected to continue to grow. So there's a massive need for educated and skilled franchise consultants. Okay. Now, for those whom that concept still seems a little fuzzy, Brandon, can you kind of explain real quickly, give us the 30-second overview of the role of the franchise consultant? What do they do? And then we'll unpack, how do you do that?
Yeah. I mean, I think a franchise consultant, a good analogy that typically everyone can resonate with is they're very similar to a real estate agent, but instead of helping someone find a home, they're going to help them find a business. So what does a real estate agent do, right? They get to know you. They ask you questions about, what you like to do for fun, right?
Yep.
What do you like to do after work? Things that have nothing to do with buying a house. And it's like, well, why do you want to know that? Well, you live in a house, and if you like peace and quiet, you might want some acreage, not necessarily want to live in a busy neighborhood, right? Or, if you have young children, you might want to live in a town that has good amenities, playgrounds, things like that, right? So again, they really need to get to know you as a person. What else does a real estate agent do? They connect you with a lender to help you buy a home, right? They connect you to get funding for the home. They connect you to an attorney who can make sure you have a clean title, right? They connect you with a home inspector to get a home inspector. You're like, right, what is that? That's not selling a house, right? That's all the things that you need to purchase a home, right? To make sure you do a good job. And again, they don't say you must get a home inspection, but they tell you you probably should. Just like a franchise consultant will say, they're not going to say you must have your FDD reviewed by a franchise attorney, but they're probably going to say you should,
Yeah.
right? Like,
right.
you know, so they're going to remind you of all the steps you need to take.
Yeah.
But then ultimately it relies on you to make the decision, right? And then again, just like a real estate agent, you don't pay them, you know, a retainer or a fee to work with them.
Right.
They get compensated when the sale is, you know, is completed, and that's how franchise consultants work as well. You know, when the placement gets made, a percentage of the franchise fee goes to the franchise consultant involved in the deal.
Yeah. So then the question then becomes, how do you launch and build your own franchise consulting business? How do you become a franchise consultant? Now, John, you've worked with hundreds of consultants. You've seen many who have struggled. You've seen many who have been wildly successful, right? And likewise, there are many listening right now who are wondering what it takes to be successful in this business, and if they can even see themselves stepping into this opportunity, and kind of looking for where to start. So from your perspective, what are some of the things that an individual needs in order to launch and build a successful franchise consulting business?
Yeah, great question. And obviously, we think about this all the time here. And because, as we mentioned, this business is really about you. You know, you're not leveraging other people's labor, right? You're bringing your experience and your passion to the marketplace and trying to leverage that. So obviously that means your mindset is just going to be huge, because you're going to take your mindset with you every single day into every conversation, right? And, you know, in our business, as we stack up valuable conversations, those are the things that lead to, you know, business opportunities. And so the mindset is really huge. And particularly when it comes to the mindset, there's a particular aspect of this. We all know being positive and things like that, but more specifically is this, we call it more of a mature, right, mentally tough mindset, which allows an individual to be productive, to continue to work towards your goals, but without getting a lot of instant gratification. You know, the nature of our business is such that it's a longer sales cycle, right? And conversion rates are not super high. I mean, everybody wants to save money on car insurance, but not everybody's out there looking for a franchise right now, you guys. So you got to have that consistency and that discipline to prospect and to have that consistency to find these qualified candidates, right? So, and you could have 3 or 4 transactions over the course of a year and have one heck of a year and be very successful. So a lot of people I find aren't equipped to do that, either, you know, maybe financially they're not in a position to do that, or mentally even they're not in a position to put themselves in an environment where they can just continue to be disciplined, to be productive, and not have those instant, you know, wins. I think one of the common denominators of our successful brokers is they tend to trust the process, and they tend to trust themselves, you know, and they have a lot of faith in that. And so that's one of the reasons why we're looking for mature, experienced, strong business acumen folks who, you know, have kind of had some experience, that they understand that the grass is not always greener, and that, you know, they have the experience knowing that if you're patient and persistent, man, you can really accomplish a lot. So that's something that definitely comes to my mind.
That's such an important distinction. Like, we talk a lot about how this business is a low volume, high margin business, meaning just a few deals a year can truly be life changing.
Yeah.
So sure. If mindset is one of those key elements, then what's another thing an individual needs in order to build a successful consulting business?
Yeah. And then, you know, we should definitely get into the marketing piece, right? I mean, you've got to market. And this is one of the things I found with a lot of small business owners, probably in every industry you can imagine, tend to struggle with this. If you think about large corporations, they have a structured, multifaceted marketing department, right? They've got PR, they've got all these different multiple channels by which they market, and they have a much larger budget. And then you have an independent consultant who's trying to grow their business, and obviously the resources are much more streamlined. So it just means you have to be much more resourceful and, you know, diligent and committed to how you're going to market your business. And so one of the things we know is that when people have 3 or 4, you know, we call it multiple marketing systems in place simultaneously, if you've got, you know, a few good systems in place, at the same time that you are consistently managing on your own terms, right? In your own, within your own commitment level, that really is huge, because that's what keeps your pipeline consistent. Right. And, typically the small business owner in the consultant space, they oftentimes suffer from a roller coaster income. And that's because the roller coaster income reflects their roller coaster marketing efforts. Right. So you got to kind of have this more of a farmer mindset towards marketing. And that's what we'll help you do. I spend probably the majority of my time is helping brokers cultivate a marketing plan that's right for them. Right. Because there's so many ways to get a client, and we know the methods to get a client. It's not a mystery, right? There's all kinds of things out there, right? And you gotta be really honest with yourself. Are you going to be able to budget a certain amount and go and purchase leads, a high volume of leads? And are you going to be willing to do the diligent follow-up and make the calls to make that work? Are you not? Are you going to do some local networking? Is that the kind of personality you have? Do you want to leverage that talent and that skill? Are you a PR person? Do you like to create content? Do you see yourself doing some email database mining and inviting people to an educational experience like the one we're on right now in this webinar? Do you see yourself doing those types of things? Cultivating relationships, building referral partners, targeting specific groups. Like, do you want to reach out and really get networked within helping veterans transition into entrepreneurship? Do you want to help people in the medical industry transition into entrepreneurship? People in the education industry, people in the contracting world. Do you want to help them scale their businesses through these amazing franchise brands that we represent, et cetera? So there's a lot of ways to go about it. And, we talk about this all the time, Jared, where oftentimes brokers will want to know, well, what's the right way? Right. What's the best? Just tell me the best one that I could throw a little bit of money at.
I actually just had a call. Today. One of the first questions he asked was, where do leads come from? What's the best way to do it? Right?
And one of the things, it's kind of I guess flip, but it's really true. And that is, it's a lot like diet and exercise. There's a lot of ways to get in shape. They all work. It's all science. I always tell people, good news, we live in a cause and effect world, right? And so the best diet and exercise program is probably the one that you will do consistently, and so I think a good theme is, you don't have to be brilliant, but you do need to be brilliantly consistent. And it's through that consistency that we know adds up over time, just like diet and exercise. And you don't have to run a marathon every week, right? It's just doing those little incremental things day by day. Good routines add up to make incredible businesses, which gives you a lot of flexibility. But here's the thing, the flexibility and the freedom that you desire only happens through the discipline. Right. And so that's something you have to be willing to buy into, and perhaps get some coaching on it. We'll help you do that. So, but being able to keep your pipeline filled with opportunities, that's going to be the key to obviously financial success, but it's also going to be the key to just having fun. When you got a pipeline that's filled and people to talk to that are quality, I'm telling you, this business is a blast. You're gonna make great money. You're gonna help a lot of people. You're gonna have amazing conversations every day. You're gonna be inspired. We have a saying here. Full pipelines equal full hearts, and that can't lose. So making that commitment to do that, to market your business on a consistent basis, and finding a couple methods that are in your wheelhouse. That's really critical to launching a successful business.
It is. And I think that the third thing that is just as critical that you're going to need in order to launch and build a franchise consulting business is really kind of an intangible thing. It's the ability to build trust, and really to do so quickly. One of the first, if you and I get the pleasure of meeting sometime soon, and we on our very first call together, one of the first couple questions I'm going to ask you is, have you processed, evaluated yourself as a coach in a consultant role? Does that excite you? Does that make you anxious? And do you know how to do that? Can you build trust, build rapport with someone quickly? Brandon, can you kind of unpack a little bit about why you believe that is so crucial?
Yeah, well, like we said earlier, I mean, this is a people first business, right? We're working with real people. It's not just a name. Like it's easy to see a lead. It's, in your inbox, and it's just a name and a phone number and a zip code that you've never heard of before, and not realize that that's a real person, especially in this AI crazy world we live in, right? But no, I mean, like that's crucial, because what John was saying, it also feeds into all those other pieces about the mental aspect and the productivity and the activity, right? Because it's very simple for this business to a day to go by and you feel like you didn't make any progress.
You're right.
But if you've had 5 to 10 meaningful conversations that day, then you've made a lot of progress. And the more meaningful, if you can just focus on having meaningful conversations with people every single day, whether it's the store clerk at the grocery store, right? Or it's that candidate on the phone, like every interaction you have is just a meaningful interaction. This business, like John says, becomes super fun, right? And so how do you do that? I mean, ask questions, be interested, pay attention, don't be in a rush to just flip a name to a franchise brand, right? But be very, very interested in who that person is on the other end of the phone. And that's, I think, how you execute on that.
Yeah, right. That's so good. And I think let's be real pragmatic now, because those three things, absolutely crucial. That's intentional. We started there, friends that are watching. But if we're being honest, looking at these three things, mental maturity, marketing systems, building trust, there's an element of kind of an intangible quality to those things that someone needs. And you do need them. But if those things are there, then, and they're critical, certainly. But what are some more, John, if you could maybe share some tangible things? Like what do you think are some of the more tangible things someone needs to really launch and build a successful franchise consulting business, and to do so this year?
Yeah. Well, like we talked about, you need a laptop and a phone, a good lounge chair, one of those margarita glasses with the umbrella. That's what you need. No, but seriously, as you guys know, this is about promoting yourself, which might be a little bit different for most people. So you're going to need some basic tools there. A website, right? You're going to have social media accounts. Your LinkedIn account needs to be updated, and now it needs to look sharp. You got to kind of make sure that represents you the way you need to be, right? You got to kind of present yourself in the digital world as this trusted advisor in the franchising industry. So you have to be able to position yourself, to be able to do that. And then also, very important in this industry, we're connectors, right? We're connecting our clients with the right opportunities. So you've got to have a vehicle to be able to consistently collaborate and learn within the industry. And you also need to be able to have access to real-time information about all the businesses that you might represent or introduce to your clients, right? You need to be in the know. Right. And that's one of the reasons why we have events and all these amazing tools here at BAI. And then, also you need to have a really good consultative sales process, right? And then you need a CRM system to help you follow up effectively to maximize your lead spend and maximize every lead that you have. And then there's tools like questionnaires you need to have that are really good. We have some great assessment tools to help you kind of help analyze and coach your clients. So these are some tools of the trade that are important to have. And again, what's awesome about BAI, I've been doing this since 1991, and just the diligent leadership that we have, we've got the tool belt, we've got the stuff. And just like a franchisee stepping into a good franchise, you don't have to create all this stuff. You just got to plug in, be coachable, bring your passion, right? And execute. And so that's what comes to mind. But those are some of the tools, and amongst others, that you need.
Yeah, right. And thanks for unpacking that, because just like how you said that and how you put that, it feels like that is a lot to launch and build, which this really rather simple business, just how it processes, right? So especially for someone who is ready to step into this business now and doesn't want to wait 4 to 5 years to build out the entire system from square one, what could that person do to build and launch a franchise consulting business now and do it successfully in 2026? John, is there anything you would add about that?
I mean, you just get plugged in with the right people. That's a big part of it, and you plug in, you be coachable, and you just take one step at a time. That's really important too. Sometimes people just kind of get stuck with analysis by paralysis. And I think it's important in this particular business just to realize, trust that the steps are there, trust the process, and just take the steps, right? Take the steps with enthusiasm, right? And be willing to be a little bit vulnerable, be willing to take a step back in order to take 10 steps forward. And just know that, there's people that got your back that'll help you succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we are. We are pretty exclusive and selective in our process with individuals we desire to work with, right? Because we're not an infinite company with infinite resources and infinite time. And we are very relational in our partnership and support. And could we provide a great deal of support from one-on-one coaching to a great deal of training to, there's roundtables you'll be a part of virtually. There's ongoing events and gatherings. There's different marketing strategies, and we're going to help form around you. We have proprietary technologies and softwares. There's essential vendor partnerships with preferred and premier partners in this space. You'll have access to all of those things and more that is waiting for the right kind of person here in franchise consulting. So Brandon, can you add a little more color to that? Can you tell us a little bit more about really maybe BAI and what we're really about, share so they understand who we are and what really our primary focus is?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And like John mentioned, BAI has been around since 1991. So we've been doing this thing a long time. And I'm not going to go into the full story. That would take a while. It's all obviously on the website, businesslinesinc.com. And then, Jared can go over that because really this is about you all. But, at the end of the day, Business Alliance Inc. is a platform. It's a platform for brokers and brands and suppliers to come together, to help create this amazing franchise buying experience, right? Which will end up resulting in better franchisees and growth in the economy, right? And so our company rests on, kind of 4 key pillars. It's an acronym that we use a lot. It's called CARE, collaborative, accountable, responsible, and ethical. So these core values, like these pillars for our company, is what we look for in every partner we work with, right? If it's a broker, we take them through this. We say, okay, are they going to be collaborative, or are they know-it-all, don't need any help, right? Are they going to be accountable? Are they responsible? Are they ethical, right? We really do take that to heart. Same thing with our franchisors, right? There's a whole vetting process, which I think we might talk about in a minute here. But also, are they collaborative? Are they accountable? Are they responsible? That's part of it, right? And our supplier vendors as well, whether it's a CRM platform, a lead generator, you name it. We're always looking for new resources, and that's one of our main objectives, right? In my opinion, is it's like, okay, we have to be coming up with more ideas and be on the forefront of testing and prodding and looking at where the puck's going to be, so that you all can focus on those meaningful conversations, as consultants, as brokers, right? So, but this is what it really summarizes it all, is that we really do care about all of our members, and we just ask that they care about us too.
Yeah, we really are a network. This is not a business that if you have an affiliation or membership with us, that you're going to launch this business in isolation. You are joining truly a network, a collection of some of the highest performing business-minded individuals in the franchising space. And every single year, we get everyone together really for these national conferences, Brandon, where we bring the whole network together, brokers, but as well as a lot of our franchisors and a lot of our suppliers, for some really connect and learn and form relationships. Last year, we held our conference in Las Vegas. Year before that, I think, was the Ritz in Orlando. And so every year it kind of moves to a different location. But I actually have a few pictures I'm going to show everyone. Brandon, can you unpack a little bit for us about conference and really more importantly, what makes the BAI conferences kind of so special?
Absolutely. We every year we say we want our conference to be legendary, right? And each year I think we continue to build upon that. And so we always try to pick a great event, a great space that can kind of be an escape where people can take an opportunity to step back from the day to day and then build relationships. These are referrals that we're sending, right? So it's a relationship, it's a referral network that's out there, right? And so this coming year, it's going to be, the theme is called Full Steam Ahead. It's at the Asher Adams Hotel in Salt Lake City. and it's coming up in June 1st. So there's definitely still time to get on board with it. I mean, at the end of the day, partnerships in this business, it's everything. You know, like your reputation is really important. Just like I said, it's easy when you get a lead that comes into your inbox to like think it's just a name, it's just words on a paper. Well, if all you do is send a name and a phone number to a brand, they might think it's just you're throwing mud over the wall to see if it sticks, right? But when it's tied to a broker who they've met in person, they've maybe drank some wine with, or shared a meal with, or did some sort of a team building activity with, it takes it up to another level. And it's like, not only do they want to talk to this candidate because it's a potential franchisee, but they want to talk to this candidate because it's someone who's working with Jared. It's someone working with this individual, this broker, who I want to help them grow their business. I want to help their family as well, right? And I know that they want to help grow my company because we discussed that.
Yeah. The last thing too, I think before I explain what to do next, can you just take a second, Brandon, and brag on then the online way in which we kind of foster community and this network too, right? Because the conferences are incredible. I cannot wait for this coming year, especially those watching now, to even maybe see them on future videos and pictures. But the day-to-day is not at conference, right? But there is something that we've kind of developed. It's proprietary to us called FranLink. Brandon, can you unpack a little bit about what that is?
Sure. Yeah. FranLink is like our online community, intranet, for lack of a better term. It's very similar to a LinkedIn or a Facebook or any other social media platform that you all are probably more familiar with, but it's only for our members, right? It does have an app. You can find it in the App Store and request to join. We may or may not approve you. It's up to Jared. Yeah. If you get the link from Jared, you will join.
We got to talk first, but
yeah. But we'll get you in there. There's a news feed, where the people upload updates that are going on with their business. We close deals, kudos, maybe just inspirational quotes, pictures of their dog, funny things that are going on, right? So it really becomes like a good book I just recently read, whatever it might be, right? To help each other and uplift one another. And then there's more tactical things in there as well, right? There's training library for our new brokers. That's where we take them through their onboarding and launch process, through the entire core training. We call the base, base modules. Then there's also continuing education as well. There's a whole broker resource center that has certification courses, all our business development webinars, other marketing and other tactics that you might need for the sales process. And then there's the franchise vault, right? So that's where we house individual spaces and pages for all of our 300 plus brands that are members. And then there's the supplier section as well for all of our other supplier resources. They all have pages as well too. So it's pretty robust. I didn't even talk about really all that much, like online events, speed networking that happens on there, Zoom webinars multiple times a week. So there's a lot too much. Maybe
it's critical to launching and building a franchise consulting business. I mean, you're going to need a broad range of strong relationships with franchise partners.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to vet those and to audit those. And to
I think one thing that makes this really important too is that, one of the benefits of this business is that we've kind of jokingly said it's a person and a laptop wherever you want to be, right? You can make this to fit your life. Yep. However, the downside to that is it can become very lonely, right? When it's just you and a laptop and, and you're, maybe you have a rough day where your leads don't answer, right? You get
it sounds like a joke,
right?
But it's not. Like, one of the biggest reasons we see people fail and fall out of this is not because necessarily finances, but because of isolation.
They get lonely, right? And so FranLink gives you that opportunity to like, hey, I get to go on here and actually see that there are, 10, 15, other people who are closing deals this month or whatever it might be. And when you celebrate other people's successes and wins, then it helps fuel you as well, right? Yeah. So there's a little bit of a, company share, leaderboard statistics, things like that, right? To kind of keep people's competitive juices flowing as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I agree 100%. And that's what I love. I love all this about BAI, obviously. Now, our culture, I think, really is unparalleled. And when you're looking to make a change, it's important to really be aligned with a group of people who are sincere and committed to your success. And so for you, if you're watching this right now and you're ready to learn more, at least get the conversation started, you're ready to move and to stop waiting. Those of you who would like to do this and do so now, I want to invite you to do one of two things. Okay. You can either go ahead and scan the QR code at the top of the screen, or I'm going to drop in the chat right now. Even if you're on your phone, you can click on the link in the chat. It's going to take you to the same spot. And that's going to really be able to take you to a place with more information, but you can also schedule. The very first step will be an initial discovery call that you'll hold with me. All right. And it's going to be a very honest, open, transparent call based on mutual evaluation. We're going to together to determine if your needs would match our expertise. And if so, this could be a great, long-term, beautiful, highly successful relationship. If not, it's better for us to stay friends than to get married. Now, while they're doing that, Brandon and John, and before I kind of show one final really incredible video from last year, I'm super pumped to show this to everybody. But anything else you would add? Any final thoughts you guys want to leave our audience with?
I would say, we don't know if this is the right fit for you or not, and we're more than willing to explore with you. And Jared does a great job with a multi-step process to help you do just that. And we don't know if this is right for you, but I tell you what, I definitely know you should take a serious look, just because of how we've seen this business just light people up in their personal and professional lives. And that may or may not be you. We don't know, but there's only really one way to find out. Yeah. Right. And so owe it yourself to do that. And I would say something else that I think is great about this. I think most of us have had to be in a position where we've had to change our lifestyle to meet our business and our career demands. I was talking to my neighbor the other day who's a physician, and man, all the accolades and amazing things that physicians get to do. But I'll tell you what, his career is the boss. And this is a unique situation where we could actually do the opposite. We can make the business fit the lifestyle you want. And that's exciting. And at the same time, utilize all the strengths and the experiences and the knowledge that you've worked so hard to acquire and develop over the years. I always say, why put those skills on the shelf when we could take them to the marketplace, make an impact, make money, and have incredible rewards and fulfillment doing that. So we'd love to do that with you.
Yeah. Thanks, John. I appreciate it. I'd like to leave you all with a short video, just as promised, that really highlights some of last year's annual conference. And you're going to see a lot of the faces and individuals that you will eventually form relationships with. These are the people you're going to learn from, and you're going to lean on and build your lucrative consulting business alongside. Now, continue to schedule a discovery call with us. We'll get a conversation going. Until then, I look forward to speaking with each of you, learning more about your career, your business goals, and discussing this opportunity to become an affiliate with BAI Network. See you next time.
I've been in this industry for a long time, and there's different qualities and different levels of different organizations out there, and BAI is truly at the top.
Brandon at the helm, you have people like Heath and Christina and Gina. Just the core group of the corporate staff at BAI has done such an incredible job.
This is our first time at the BAI conference, and we've just been really impressed. It's been awesome. It's great just to get together, meet face to face, and we're just excited to keep those relationships going past the conference.
BAI has a culture as well. It sure does. All right, the professionalism, less is more, quality, not quantity. It is a little family. It's an extended family.
Yes.
And everybody helps everybody out.
It's amazing time which I'm spending with the BAI team. If I want to be very honest with you, it's probably the best time which I have spent in many years.
Yeah.
If they've never been to really any broker conference, this would be the best one to start to. It really gives the opportunity for more intimate conversations. Franchising is a lot of fun, and you're going to have a great time here. Awesome. And it's a fun community to be a part of.
It's a competitive spirit, right? But we cheer for each other.
Yeah.
Not just for ourselves.
Yeah.
BAI was my very first 2 weeks at Neighborly last year.
Oh.
And so this set the tone for how I was going to be working with different broker networks. This is 5-star.
BAI, the people here are great. We work together. We're a team. And the consultants are great. And there's nothing that makes me happier than sending a BAI consultant a check when we close a deal.
I think BAI is a very, very special group of professionals that has elevated this whole game of franchise brokerage. If you're a franchisor out there and you don't come to BAI or you're not a member, do it, because not only do you have a very well run conference, the brokers that are here are absolutely top notch. Couldn't be happier with BAI.